Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Mujiji ki Jai. We're doing something called the Ashtavakra Gita. You heard of it? Ashtavakra Gita? You can, anytime you have a question, just stop me. Okay?
87.
87? 87. Wow, how did you finish 87? Let's start with 87?
Yes, starting with 87.
Thank you. So the sage says, the wise one stands alone, caring for nothing, bereft of possessions. He goes where he will, unhindered by opposites. His doubts rent asunder. His doubts rent asunder. He is truly blessed. The wise one stands alone, caring for nothing means not that he becomes uncaring. It's just that the self is unconcerned by any play of the phenomenal world. So as if the self is unconcerned, yet in the outer expression, usually what happens is that I've said often that when true spirituality meets the world, it is met with kindness, it is met with compassion, it is met with love. Usually, even these benchmarks we cannot make, but usually in the presence of a sage, we experience it on our own, isn't it? You go to Ramana Ashram, you meet Guruji, automatically you will feel something in the presence of a sage. So it's not this kind of unconcerned though, not a derisive sort of letting go of the world, which is like this world is useless, it's pointless, who are you people, you don't even exist. See, not like that. It is usually met with compassion, usually met with love. And knowing fully well that everything that moves in this universe is a play of consciousness, is therefore the will of God. So it's not in opposition to anything that might be appearing, including the responses which come from the body itself. Even that is included in the appearance of the world. So that way, classes. See, Father, and I know it. So that's why it says the wise one stands alone, caring for nothing. He says unconcerned. Whatever might happen, you know that it's God's will, you know, is the will of consciousness. Therefore, this individual sense of doership, the individual sense of individual identity, the separation, all of this is not picked up. Bereft of possessions, he goes where he will. What does this mean? Not that the sage doesn't have anything. The outwardly play, they can have a house, they can have a family. So what is empty of possessions? Really, it means empty of attachments to them. This idea of me and mine is not there. So this we are empty of. The sage can, like Janaka himself after this, continue to run the kingdom. He had a palace. All the possessions, he possessed a kingdom. And yet was empty of them. How? Just this. What is that linkage between the appearance of the world and that which we consider ourselves to be? This idea of me and mine. What would your life be if there was no such idea as me, and therefore no such idea of mine? And you find that nothing can truly come which makes you suffer. If everything is God's, including this body, then can you have a problem? That is devotion, that is surrender. Everything is God's, including actions, including words that happen here. Everything is God. And everything is whose problem? God's problem. When we pick up something, and this I have to do, or this is my problem, you're picking up what identity? The identity of the ego which we cannot find. This one is the idea of our limitation. Because if it is all God's, then who must God be? If there is a you, what must you be? Now, to the mind, this sounds like a very arrogant statement. Actually, it is not arrogant. Arrogance is the idea that I can be separate from God. So either we say we possess nothing, or we say everything is I. It's the same thing actually, because in neither there is separation. The me and the other is not happening. Either we say everything is God, or we say that I am everything. It's the same thing. So this, then all this relationship and all these struggles, problems, absolutely. Who is the one who is the owner of relationships? So possessions also includes relationships. We possess our relationships in a way. We possess not just worldly objects. In fact, more troublesome possessions sometimes can be these things that we feel like we possess as people, as relationships. So we see that there is no individual I like that to possess anything at all. All is one. And we are not moving from one belief system to a new belief system. So we're not replacing just a concept, I am this individual person. You see, I am the body mind, with another concept, you are God. So that concept, just as a concept itself, is useless. Better not to pick it up actually, because as the spiritual ego, it will cause even more trouble. So we go from this concept of I am this individual entity to the recognition that there is only one. Whatever we call it, whether we call it God or we call it the self. So in that way, that is why the sage can say the wise one stands alone. Doesn't stand alone, and it's like the wise one becomes very lonely. They're just sitting alone, nobody wants to talk to them. It's not like that. The wise one stands alone because they realize only I am. There is nobody else. The appearance of this body and the appearance of every body is part of one consciousness, one being. See, that one, that way they are. Not in the worldly corporate way that is lonely at the top. So the sage has got to the top of the mountain, so poor thing is he or she is standing alone. That's why good to have these sessions, because sometimes when we read these words, we can get misunderstandings about them. See, I must then go live in a cave because I must be alone, because I want to be this wise one. See, not alone in that way. The self is only one. That is why it is Advaita, not two. Literally, Advaita means not two. Caring for nothing. Again, a lot of potential for misunderstanding here. It's not that, oh, I don't care for any of you, or the sage is now saying, oh, what are you? You are just a bucket of flesh and blood. Go away from me, or something like that. The sage is not saying that. The world is usually met with a lot of caring, in different expressions, of course, but it is unconcerned with what fears they used to have. I wish my life only goes this way. I hope this doesn't happen. And once you see that only consciousness is, then you see that all is a will of consciousness. Then you're not resisting what is appearing in life. In acceptance of that, including the responses that come. Why I make it a point to say, including the responses and reactions that come with this body, is because many times when we hear we must accept life, then we become like cheap. Like, we feel like, oh, the body must just be like this. We like that. It's not about this. Acceptance even for the movement of this body. Even if something comes and it feels strong and a strong reaction comes from here, you don't pick up guilt about it. This is not an Advaita excuse for bad behavior, by the way, but just seeing that, to see that everything is happening, everything is a movement in consciousness, and to see that everything includes this body, these words, these hand movements. See this for yourself. How these words are coming. Is there an Ananta sitting here doing them? It might seem like it, but it is not true. They're just emerging. And the hearing of them is happening in the same way, even through these senses, as it might be happening through those senses. There truly is nobody individually saying these words. They can seem to belong to some mythical Ananta. Don't get scared because this is first satsang for you, I know. But what you're basically saying is that everything is God, everything is consciousness, and everything is seen to be this way, that it is one being. Many come to satsang and they say, can you show me God? It's a very auspicious question. Right? Can you show me God? So then what the response is that everything is God. Everything that you're seeing already is God. You don't have to look for a special form of God. Although if that is your deepest urge, even that form will appear for you. That form is not beyond consciousness. There's also an appearance within consciousness. But you don't have to look for God as something. Once you start to see God as everything, then it will be so much simpler. That's what we're basically saying. He goes where he will, unhindered by opposites. His doubts rent asunder. He is truly blessed. So that again reminds me of that beautiful interaction in satsang with Papaji, my master's master. It's Punjaji, affectionately called Papaji. So Papaji, somebody came to him and they said, like, sitting over there, he said, I don't see God. Show me God, I don't see God. Papaji said to him, don't doubt. Doubt is false. Don't is doubt. What do you see? So this one said again, I don't see God. But first it can sound like it's wordplay. You're just playing with words. How can removing don't show me God? See, but try it. Just try it. Just remove the don't, remove the but, remove the if, remove all these doubts and see what is. How are you limited to one body? What is it? Where is your line of separation? Some will say, okay, I am a soul which sits inside this body. Say, where does the soul end and the body start? Many times this popular concept, this soul sitting in the body. It's misunderstood. Where does the soul end and the body start? You say, he says, I am the body. What is the boundary of this body? Even the bodily cells are interacting with the environment constantly. It is not stopping here. Then some will say, oh, my aura extends beyond my body. What is the edge of your aura? Where does it end? And you start to see that actually all my experiences, everything that I'm seeing is only an experience within myself. Can you experience something if you are not there? So what is this space of existence, space of being in which all this experience is happening. What is the boundary of that? Then you see that there is only one. I see God. All the don't was an idea of limitation. Then for some I can even ask this question. Okay, all of this is phenomenal. All of this is an appearance. Are you something which is even included in just the appearance? Are you something that is even beyond that? Where does your boundary end? So if all your experience is included in that one being, even that, is that your limitation? That's it? What is it? The sages have given us many clues. What witnesses even this being? Who is the Sakshi of even this appearance? And you see that I am aware of my presence, within which this entire play is going on. That which is aware of presence, for that ultimately even presence comes and goes. So you must be beyond this play of phenomena. So it's really a stretching out. It's really a stretching out from this very tiny seeming limitation now, from this perspective that I'm just the body, to saying I'm the body and the mind, to seeing that all of this experience is within my being, within consciousness, to seeing that I am beyond even this being. Even I am comes and goes. I am witnessing even that, empty of all attributes, empty of qualities. Only from here can we say these things that the sage is unconcerned. Unconcerned, why? Because it is just a movement within the ocean of consciousness. A movement in the light of the projector. The movie is changing. But you, the eternal witness, you remain untouched. Now, what can happen here is that the mind does not fathom this. The mind can only deal in quality. If I tell you, imagine nothing, yeah, how will you do it? You'll imagine some dark, empty space. But don't even imagine dark, empty space, just nothing, not even that. Then you try to imagine some white, transparent thing or something. But truly empty of quality, then you imagine something which has no quality. You cannot fathom it. The mind cannot fathom it. And yet, what you're discovering about yourself is this qualityless self. That is why the mind struggles with this. Have I really found it? You see, you don't find it in that way. You used to finding things. Have I got to the self? You see? If the question is still there, that means there is more clarity that needs to come in your recognition. Because it is the only discovery like this where you will be completely clear that it is, and yet you will not be able to find a quality to it. It is the only discovery like this. This is the clue. You see? If the self is the treasure, then the clue to this treasure hunt is this. What is the only discovery you can make, which is empty of all qualities, yet cannot be denied that it is? Shall I repeat? What is the only discovery that you will make, which is undeniable that it is, and yet it is empty of all qualities? Is there some discovery like that? Is it? This. What is the clue to find it? Find the witness. The witness that witnesses all things. can it itself be witnessed? And Guruji says, can the perceiver be perceived? So that which is perceiving this world, that which is perceiving all phenomena. Now the mind gets stuck with this because it only fathoms phenomenal things. So mind will say, okay, it was nothing. It was just, it was awareness, it's just nothing. It also comes and goes. Misunderstood even awareness. Like I saw a message on Facebook the other day where they said, uh, now awareness is a function of the waking state. They started with a false presumption, they obviously came to false conclusions. Awareness is a function of the waking state. So therefore, those who say that you must just be aware, they are saying they are completely wrong, because how can you be sleep deprived? I've never heard such a thing. So then who is aware of sleep? Because and you can't really truly blame them, because how it is understood in worldly terms, awareness might be like this. Are you aware that there is a hotel close to your house? So that is some sort of a conceptual knowing that is being used as awareness. Are you conscious of it, or even that? But what we are saying is that what witnesses even consciousness. What we are pointing to is that which is beyond all states. It is not a functioning of the waking state. Because if awareness was just the functioning of a waking state, how would you be able to even say something like sleep state? Who is aware of sleep? Is sleep just an idea that you're making up? Dream state, other states, are they just ideas? No. She has very deeply meditative experiences, so she has those states. Can't call it the waking state. Who is aware of those states? That witness stays the same. That witness that is witnessing this is witnessing the other meditative experiences, is also witnessing sleep. But it itself is empty of quality. You see, because in sleep, what is there? What is there in sleep?
Absence of any phenomena.
Absence of all phenomena. Yet, there must be something which witnesses the absence of all phenomena. But it is not a something. So, this to the mind is far out. Oh, you came to Satsang to find some peace or happiness or love or something like this. But now you are being told that you are no thing. You see? That is why this sort of direct path is something which is rarely attractive. In this world of 6 or 7 billion people, it seems rarely attractive because we are still, most of humanity still is in that phase of wanting something for themselves phenomenal. If I come and tell you, I give you something, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't taste it, you can't even see it in that way, you can't hear it. For this you charge money? Say, but I don't even charge money. For free I'm giving you this. But what's the point? I can't touch it, I can't taste it, I can't feel it. Yeah, I met yesterday, this is coming from yesterday, I met someone who was just talking to her and saying, what do you do? She said, so that is one scary question, isn't it, for most of us? What do you do? I said, there is some work, but a lot of my attention these days is sharing something called Advaita Vedanta. But I share it from my own experience and a little bit of scriptural help. This is right. So what do you get as a result of this? You don't get in that way. Then you have to pay for coming to you. You don't have to pay anything. But still the question remains, so what do I get? You don't get anything, actually you will lose this eye also. So it's a bargain for me. Because It's not something that you will get in this way. You will lose this false idea of I. You will see something about yourself which is beyond phenomenon. So don't be so quick to discount that which is not phenomenal. Just because we cannot fathom it, we cannot make a concept around it and say this is the self. You'll see that in the recognition of this truth, when you find this self, then you will find such beauty emerging even in your outward play in this world. Because as consciousness is coming to this recognition of itself, you play in a way that all of this worldly creation will become just a beautiful play. This fear of death, the fear of something happening to you will start to become more and more laughable. I do think I say almost every satsang I've been saying, how can the self be scratched by anything that might appear in this world? And so see, I cannot be dented no matter what happens. I cannot be scratched, hurt by anything that happens here. Then you, as this recognition becomes settled, then you will see that such beauty unfold in your life. Such wonder, such joy will become a natural fragrance of your presence. And yet you will be unattached even to this. That's what it's for. A lot of times what can happen is that as a seeker identity, we get tired. The seeker identity starts to get tired. So then it is looking for some absolute truth. So it is saying, so when someone says, oh, there is no awareness, forget about it. You've just been wasting your time. It can seem like it is attractive because it already feels like, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere. So when you hear that, but even in this sense of relief, which can come momentarily, you will find that your sense of limited identity can continue. You're still relating to yourself as this body mind. So then the idea of desire, the ideas of doership, the idea of separation is bound to perpetuate suffering. So the end of suffering cannot be found just by concepts. This intuitive insight, this intuitive recognition must always be there. So I don't settle for anything less in this outward play as Ananta. I don't settle for anything less. So if you come and say to me, I feel like I'm the body mind, but it's clear to me that I'm not the doer. I'm not going to let you settle for that, and if you continue to be with me, you will not settle for that. Because you are not the body mind. You might find some pain relief in these painkillers from time to time. But till you come to this clear intuitive recognition and you come to the thing of the false idea that you believe about yourself, I'm not backing out from this. And more I cannot get myself to say it's okay also. Why? Because I'm showing to you that there is no prison. And if you come to me tomorrow and say, prison is there, but it's very beautiful. Actually. You see, it's been painted white and nice. These ugly black bars which I was imagining in the prison has been painted multicolor, rainbow color. Let me enjoy my multicolored, rainbow colored prison. Am I going to let you settle for that? doesn't play naturally like that here. No multicolored prism, no ugly prism, no prism at all. So it might feel like it's a step up. And some of that is okay to feel like it's a step up, but it's not in the play of what plays from here to settle for half measures. And sometimes that's very irritating. I realize that. You just got a new multicolored prism and you're saying, "Look, at least it's a good change from what I was experiencing earlier." I know it can feel like, but not even that. Check who you are. Is there really a boundary? Is there really a prism? Then you'll find that you are much beyond what your mind can fathom. You are much beyond this play of time and space. How to find this? Now, suppose, I don't know why I'm dwelling so much on this point today, but suppose that you came with the belief that you're in a prison, you're in a box, in a jail, you're stuck over there. Now, there are many different ways which are being prescribed in this world. How to get out of this prison? So some will say to get out of prison, you need a lot of muscle, break the bars. So every day what you have to do is push-ups. Every day do these 120 push-ups. So you'll build the spiritual muscles and you'll be able to break the prison. Some will say, yes, the problem is actually that your mind is not pure. That's why you're always thinking about the prison. So stop thinking about the prison. I'll give you a replacement, something else to think about. That could be a mantra, an image of God, something to keep your mind away from prison thoughts into this. So let me change the quality of your mind by giving you something else to focus. And for most of the seeming prisoners, these things seem attractive. Now, there are some paths which are the direct paths, which tell you that what all you have to do is find out whether you actually are in prison or not. And because the conditioning is so strong, like, what? Oh, no, that much I'm clear about. I am a person. That much I'm clear about. Now tell me what kind of person I need to become so then I can escape this prison. Here the question is, are you the prisoner? Is there a prison? Both questions are the same. They might sound different. Are you a prisoner or is there a prison? It's the same question. Now, those who can accept this question, or those who have come to this point where the yearning in the heart is for this discovery, who is it that I am? Am I the prisoner? Am I the person who wants freedom? See, that's why Advaita Vedanta is called the direct path. Why is it called the direct path? The Jnana Marg. Let me say like that, the Jnana. Because once you hear, once you have the knowledge from inside, intuitive insight, that you are not this limited one, then what part do you need? What part do you need? So this illumination, this recognition, is this discovery that I am beyond time and space. I am beyond all phenomena. There is no bondage for me. Once you see this, then if somebody comes and says, "Oh, I have a nice set of scissors for your ropes that you can cut off," but I am not bound. That's what it is. For the direct path. Now, I'm not putting down any path. I'm not saying that any other path is bad or wrong. Many times, to come to this openness to accept this truth, it can seem like you need to do some spiritual push-ups. It can feel like I need to get some peace in the mind by chanting something. All these are useful along the way because they can cause this sense of openness. Peace of mind can come with a sense of openness for the inquiry. But if the path is being confused as getting us to something as a limited entity, if I do my 100 spiritual push-ups every day, I will become the super Siddha or something. That is just giving more and more energy, giving more and more belief to the idea of a limited ego trying to become something special. That is why it is called the direct path. Which means that if you're seeing a snake where there's a rope, or you feel there's a snake, but actually there's a rope, there are no real methods of how to deal with the snake. You're just being reminded that see carefully, there's just a rope. There is nothing to fear. That way. Once you see that it's a rope, someone comes and says, I have a solution that the snake will lose its poison. So, but I already see it's a rope. See, why do I need to deal with the snake? That's the reason why we focus on the recognition of what is truly here. And it is easier actually, once there's a little bit of openness, it is easier to deal with the rope as a rope. So this, it's not difficult. Don't let your mind convince you that, oh, because he said only few are attracted to this, therefore it must be because it's very difficult. It's the easiest. People want to do more difficult things. Because our condition is that we have been told that once you do difficult things, then you will achieve something. Here, it's like super simple. It's already what you are. Oh, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Then it can feel like it's not valuable because of that. It's direct. It is already what you are. It's just a simple looking. Just like this. Am I in prison or is there a prison here? Who needs freedom? What is my bondage?
Father, Father, I'm dying. Nobody at home. Nobody at home. I'm dying, Father. It is very severe panic attack, Father. Very, very severe. And they have started coming again. They were not there. Now they have started coming again. I don't know what to do.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Are you crying because they have started coming again, or the crying is happening just naturally?
What, Father?
Are you crying because these attacks have started coming again and you don't want them? Or are you crying just naturally some tears are rising?
No, this is naturally happening actually. This crying is naturally happening. All this is seen, Father. The fear is there. I am dying, but I am not dying. But it is such a discomfort, such a helplessness,
Yes, yes.
such a feeling of the limitedness.
Now, as much as possible, I know that it might be difficult what I'm going to say now. As much as possible, just interpret this the scale of what is happening based on what you're directly perceiving. Don't allow your mind to make something bigger out of it than it is. See the sensation for what it is and report from there if you have to. How much space is the panic taking inside you?
Nothing further. It is not taking any space. The experiencer actually is very frustrated.
Wait, slowly, 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 slowly. Now, again, what I'm saying, and this is for all of you actually, notice that there can be a certain set of sensations. And I know that nothing is bigger than your being. But notice how the interpretive mind can come and make something bigger than it is out of it. So now what you're seeing is that this panic by itself is not so big. You say nothing, but maybe I shouldn't go that far as yet. It is still experienced as something. Don't come into a denial of that experience. But notice that in the experiencing, where this sensation is being experienced, it is not actually bound by just this experience. There is space for this voice to be heard. There is space for other sensations to be felt. All this existence still continues to play out. Now it is natural for attention to go in this way to that which seems to be causing discomfort. So what we are simply doing in this exercise is to see whether attention can quietly also look at that which is around this sensation without buying a mental story about it. No attack, whether it's a mind attack, whether it's a panic attack, whether it's a combination of all of this, is bigger than your being. So we are not to come into a denial of any sensation, but just to see that this appearance might seem strong, but actually compared to the entirety of my existence, it is just another pasting, it's just another appearance. So stay with your insight about this and don't interpret anything, especially about the seeker, frustrated seeker. Unless you see an entity sitting there which is the seeker, don't give it any importance. Don't buy any story. Don't resist any sensation. Remain open to all that is appearing. And whenever you find some sense of space, look at that space which surrounds this sensation. You will find that in your being, a million such sensations can come, but they cannot take you over unless you believe an idea about them. The human births will always have a lot of sensations to deal with. Consciousness is playing in that way. A diverse set of sensations will be experienced. What will happen is that our judgments about them will change. Suffering is actually a judgment. Pain is the sensation. Okay, so rest like this for a bit. Then, before we end satsang today, I'd like to hear from you. The wise one has no sense of mind. To him, earth, stone, and gold are the same. The knots of his heart have unraveled. He knows neither ignorance nor sorrow. He is excellent in every way. He is excellent in every way. The wise one has no sense of mind. Okay. To him, earth, stone, and gold are the same. Now, again, there is scope for misunderstanding when this is heard. So it might feel like once I see that there is no separation, it might feel like this whole world becomes like one blurry appearance. If there is stone in your hand, you can't make out the difference between stone and gold. It's not like that. We're still talking about attachments here. When the sense of mind is taken away, then whatever is appearing is accepted as God's gift, as the prasad from God, the appearance within the play, whichever way we want to look at it. Then we're not picking and choosing our next experience. We're not saying, what's next? Guruji says this very beautifully. The mind is constantly proposing something next. He says, when lunch is here, the mind is already thinking about, what am I going to eat for dinner? So this, what's next? Okay, I came to this experience now, what's next? So this holding on to experiences, saying that I want something to be mine, and I want, or I don't want them to appear, is a misunderstanding. That which is appearing and disappearing is all moving with this supreme intelligence of consciousness. Like I say more simply, God is the ultimate chef, and He is not messing up your recipe. Constantly we have this bemoaning attitude. God, why are you doing this to me? Making the hash out of our life. And then, once you start to see that everything is a play of consciousness, then you will find that the boundary line which you have defined between yourself and God itself starts to fade away. Then you will come to a point where you say, one experiencer, one doer. There are no two. And then one day you might even come to this point where you say, I am that which witnesses even the play of this doer experience. Even consciousness comes and goes. As far as I am concerned in reality, again I'm saying all the clues for this discovery are present here. All the clues are here. What is that witness that witnesses all things? Can that itself be witnessed? What is it that remains unchanging? Everything else is changing. Everything is changing. What remains unchanging? They point to the same thing, all these clues. But the only thing is, the one clue you always have to remember is don't expect to find a thing. Don't expect to find something sitting there. The self. I will come to the self and it will be so beautiful. It will have all the colors within itself. It will, but not in the way that you're expecting it to. It will be empty of all qualities. Yet all qualities emerge from that. This is a discovery that all of you are making. We have some 11 or 12 clues now. So one assignment I had given some time ago, and some of you have joined after that, is that one evening a set of these just clues got tabulated here, which is before going to sleep, I made a list of all of them. Then I gave it as a homework assignment, which was to look at these clues and look at the verses in Ashtavakra Gita and say which verses are pointing to this clue. So you are the eternal witness. You're the one solitary witness. So what is that? What is the one solitary witness which is looking at all things? Then you are without any boundary, without limitations. I am the one shoreless ocean in which the arc of the universe rises and falls. All these verses are there. What are they pointing to? The self in this way. So many times you might feel like, when I say look for the witness, you might feel like, oh, there's a entity over there, a supernatural entity which is the witness. But then another clue is there, that it is boundless. So an entity must have a boundary. So what is it? What witnesses even this idea of entity? It's that which is boundless. Then you might come to this idea that I am something which awakens in the waking state and goes to sleep. What is it? The clue? That which is the unchanging reality. What witnesses all of these states also coming and going. Waking, dream, sleep, turiya, any state that you might be having. What witnesses that? All the clues are there, pointing to your reality. Don't come into any sort of mental conclusion. Don't come to any sort of conceptual idea Your discovery will not be conceptual. In fact, mostly you will find yourself empty of words. In the outward play, most you will find that it's a difficulty to speak. Proclamations become very tough. The idea that I have found it or have not found it, both lose their relevance. The idea of what I should do now, what should I do next, seems to dissolve because you find yourself to be beyond time. And what next? You find yourself beyond the universe. So what should appear in the universe? What else is left for you to know? All this worldly knowing loses its relevance, but it can continue to be part of the play alone. The liberated soul has no desire in his heart. He is content and indifferent. He has no equal. Basically, we've discussed most of this. He has no equal because there is only one. There are no two. Only one, free of desire, knows nothing of knowing. Only one free of desire knows nothing of knowing. Says nothing needs saying. Knows nothing of knowing. Says nothing needs saying. Sees nothing to see. Only one free of desire knows nothing of knowing. Says nothing needs seeing. Sees nothing to see. It's quite clear. He who is without desire excels, be he beggar or king. He no longer sees good or bad. Excels not in the worldly or corporate form of excellence, just everything is so full of wonder. So look at it more as, rather than as excels, we can look at it more as wonder, wonderful. What is lust or restraint, or the desire for truth? To the yogi who has reached life's goal and who embodies virtue and sincerity, what is lust or restraint, or the desire for truth? For the yogi who has reached life's goal and who embodies virtue and sincerity. So this, what is the goal? As the sage is saying, to find this which is beyond this worldly play. So what is the sage pointing at? The sage is saying, don't waste too much time trying to overcome lust or try to overcome these tendencies which seem to exist in this worldly play. Find out who you are. Find the truth which is beyond all of these, and these will themselves settle down, take care of themselves, and be seen as a very natural functioning of the human existence. The inner experience of one who is free of desire and suffering, who is content and reposes in self, how can it be described, and of whom? The inner experience of one who is free of desire and suffering, who is content and reposes in self, how can it be described, and of whom? Self-explanatory. The wise one state never varies, sleeping soundly. He is not asleep. Find the clues in this, will you? I hope at least by now, when we are at verse 94 of chapter 18, we're able to look at what the sage is saying and look for the clues in that, because almost every verse is a pointer for your self-recognition. So he's saying, the wise one state never varies. Sleeping soundly, he is not asleep. Lying in reverie, he is not dreaming. Eyes open, he is not wakeful. So what did we just talk about? The same thing. The states of waking, sleep, dream, any states, they are coming and going. But what is it talking about? Is it talking about the reality of you? Is your state changing? Or do you continue to be that eternal witness? Do you continue to remain that unchanging one? Do you continue to remain the boundless, shoreless ocean, empty of qualities? So whatever state might come and go. So this is not an ode to sages or something like that. You might sometimes when we read like this, we might feel like, oh, this is just paying homage to the great sages. They are so beautiful. All of this happens with them. No, they are pointers for you to see what is it there. What is your true experience actually? Is it not this? So it is for you to find this reality for yourself. It is not to say that the sage is something special and you are far from that because for the sage all these things are happening. It is to find this for yourself and see that all of the Ashtavakra Gita is about you. What is that for you which is unconcerned by the waking state? Is there such a thing? Or no thing? Is the entirety of you just contained in the waking state? The waking state is a realm of appearances. So is the entirety of you an appearance? Are you just an appearance? Or is there something about you which is beyond the waking state, beyond these appearances? Is what we're looking for. Then when you start to make this discovery, then this clamor, this feverishness for more and more within this one state, will become a struggle actually. To pick up feverishness about something within a state which is just itself appearing and disappearing, you find it a funny play. If you are not contained within it, and all is already so beautifully taken care of here, what to desire? What the sage was saying, empty of desire and suffering. Same thing. If there is no mind, there can be no suffering. There is no idea of a limited me. The mind itself cannot be there. That's why this point there. Are you contained just in something is happening? See?
Yeah, do sages suffer in their
Do sages suffer in their dreams? The sage, as they are saying, is not just the outward appearance of what is there. So, in widest dreams, a sage can seem to suffer in the outward appearance in the waking state. It becomes rare. Like I take the example of Ram crying or coming in grief when Sita was abducted. So, in the outward view, but more look at it as the sagely nature. What is the true self, or sage presence, or eternal witness of even this presence? That remains unchanged. That's why it's good we have these sessions. Otherwise, again, it can become like when we hear something like this, even though he's sleeping, he's awake. There is a popular idea, especially in Indian spirituality, isn't it? That, oh, he's a sage, he doesn't need to sleep. It's not like that. In the play of the body mind, that continues to play. The body is a phenomenal appearance with phenomenal principles that apply. Not to say that consciousness cannot play with those, always, but in the usual appearance, sage's body comes, body goes, feels pain, waking state, sleep state, dream state, higher meditative states, all are experienced. So that is now what you are saying is that when the dream state appears, there's this outward appearance continue to be that of a sage who has come to the recognition of the self? Not always. There is no rule like that. Consciousness always loves a variety of tastes. So if in this one realm it is experiencing like this, it might want to experience a contrast in another realm. Or it might want to experience the same. You see, no real rule like that can apply. Can we really say that we are going to experience more than this one moment in this life? Not even. An easier one to answer is, can we say that we will experience the life of Chaitanya for more than a day? A seeming waking happened. This world was there. This body was there. You see that this body is there. And some memory comes, oh, this one is Chaitanya. And Chaitanya is playing out, he comes to Satsang, he goes to work, all this. And sleep state comes. Chaitanya and the world go away. Is there a guarantee it will come back? There is no guarantee. You might come to another state where you say, that was a strange dream. Is it? It's possible, completely possible. Is it? Or it might be, that's it. No more emergence of consciousness. Completely possible. Anything can happen. So the realm and how it plays out, all of this, we cannot predict these things. Now, what I'd like to say is, my feeling is, but there's no guarantee about this. My feeling is that the design of these players, consciousness, play of consciousness, because it's so beautiful, so intricate. What's the word? No. Intricate. Because the design of these players is so intricate. Yeah? So then consciousness is also designed for itself, this fail-safe alarm clock mechanism, like a form of a reminder to remind itself who he is it? So you are that sage. The appearance of Ananta is the alarm clock. Now, are you suffering in your dream state? See, so it might be that there might have been a sense of suffering because consciousness wanted to taste that, but it also created this alarm clock to remind yourself that you are not this. As I said, Ashtavakra is talking about you. The minute you project it outwards as if it is talking about somebody special outside, then you can start to see. So this is the sage's dream. You woke up, there was an intimate body. It seemed like visuals are coming into it from the outside of the world. There's this body. And then the body had a name. The body mind had a name, Chaitanya. Life is being lived. Then it can seem like attachment came for this body mind. And this body, I hope, in the experiences that I have as this body mind, only this happens. When opposites happen, as they are bound to, when we have an idea of what should happen, then suffering comes. And as we've had enough of the play of this expectation, attachment, and suffering, then something opens up within us. And as soon as that opening happens, something comes. Either an intuitive voice, usually a form of an outer guru or something like that, which is saying, you're not this, who are you really? Where is all this coming from? Within the same consciousness. So, what can you say about that sage called Chaitanya? Did he suffer in the tree? That's what it is. So, play, anything can happen in the play, but nothing in reality suffers. So, what is being referred to is that unchanging self and the recognition of this unchanging self. When this recognition is there, no suffering is possible. When the recognition is not there and the belief in the false is there, that I am a limited entity, suffering has to come. It is the tail of this dog. You can't take the dog without the tail. So if identity is the dog, then suffering is the tail. You can't have just specialness or arrogance or guilt and all of these things unless you have this identity. man of knowledge seems to think but has no thoughts. He seems to have sense perceptions but does not experience. He seems to have intelligence but is empty minded. He appears to be a person but is not. Man of knowledge seems to think but has no thoughts. Again, he does not attach to the thinker identity. Not that all thoughts have to go. He seems to have sense perceptions but does not have experience. Again, means does not take the position of the individual experiencer. Experiences are still there. See, all this is being tasted. There's a room full of people. It can still be tasted as an experience. But there is no individual experiencer of that. Just like there is no doer of these words. As I was saying earlier, there is no Ananta which is speaking these words. There is no experiencer which is experiencing all of this. You are just emerging in your own being. All of this is just an emergence and a disappearance in your own consciousness. So that's what it means. He seems to have sense perceptions but does not experience. Otherwise, these, if I don't explain it like that, they might seem to be contradictions. He seems to have intelligence but is empty-minded. What does it mean? Even after all conceptual knowing is put aside, you see whatever you seem to have known and valued so much is actually valueless in a way. And yet, in the articulation, in the speaking, finding a sage using a different language, you're not finding a sage which has a completely different conceptual articulation. Still finding that seems to know a lot. You might feel like you meet a sage. Oh, did he say I know nothing? So how do we know about this and that? He's not attached to the knower identity. He's not attached to conceptual belief system. That is what changes. And the final one is the clincher. He appears to be a person, but isn't. So the sage is that outward expression of the one who in that aspect of consciousness has come to the recognition of the unchanging self. So again, this is again true for you yourself. If you think you are still a person, can you show me? So it's not just for the sage. Again, I said it's not a ode to sages over there, so wonderful. It is true for our own awakening. The sage no longer thinks he's a person. Okay? But I am still a person. So, this is the person. Body. Where's the person? Body. The body doesn't want freedom. What are you doing here? If the body actually had that kind of volition, suppose the body had that kind of volition, choice making, and you give two options to the body. And say, here's a chocolate ice cream, and here's Satsang. For Satsang, you have to travel 2 hours. Chocolate ice cream is right in front of you. What will body choose if it had that kind of, again I'm saying, if it had the volition? Chocolate ice cream. The body doesn't want this. So what are you doing here? You must be something beyond the body. Who are you? Now don't settle for any image. Now is the time to use all the clues. It is clear that I cannot be the body, because if I were just the body, I would just be having a nice tub of Rocky Road or some chocolate ice cream. Yeah. If not that, then the mind will also try and collaborate on this project now and say, I must be this luminous being. Visualize aura. And what witnesses that? Anything the mind can come up with, find out who witnesses that. Look, don't settle for a concept. Don't settle for I am awareness, please. See? Because if you settle for the concept I am awareness, then in the play you are still not coming to the recognition of this. Already, using a simple example, it is clear to you, you are not the body. Now, who are you? Who are you? Okay, enough for today. Ashtavakra. Almost again. Did I miss number 90? Okay, we'll look first thing tomorrow. We'll look at that. There's a question I want to give some attention to. Shweta is here. She says, Namaste Guruji, I wanted to ask you that I feel I don't want to assume something that I haven't seen or that is not my experience yet. Very good. This is very good. This so-called mind and so-called ego are also concepts that I have heard from someone. Very good. Shweta. She is. Very good. So she says, the so-called mind and so-called ego are also concepts that I have heard from someone. So the only thing I know of is my thoughts. Yes, very good. That are in my experience. And the identities that I attach to. Very good. But who do these thoughts come to? Who is identifying is what I am feeling to look at. And who is the one who is observing all this? I am feeling to understand that as well. Is it the mind is playing the role of one who sees and one who is identified? Or is it the one who observes is something different? I'm really unable to figure out. Very good report and question. So she says this so-called mind and so-called ego are also concepts that I've heard from someone. So, and later you say, all I'm aware of from my experience is that there is a set of thoughts which comes. So these thoughts put together is what we call the mind. And we make it very simple. The terminology which is used in Satsang here is that a bundle of these thoughts, the collection of all of these thoughts is what we call the mind. So the mind is nothing but these thoughts, which are all energy constructs. And for convenience, we also put in similar energies like imagination, memory. We use all this collection of similar energies that we call thoughts as mind. So when you're in satsang here, if you just stay with this definition of mind, which in traditional teachings is called the small mind. Sometimes there is big mind, which is consciousness, which aspects you take of that. Just forget about all of that for some time. Just know that these thoughts and similar energies like memory and imagination is what we call the mind. So you say that I am aware of these thoughts in my experience. So it is these thoughts which is mind. So you are aware of your mind in that way as thoughts. Then you say, I am aware of my thoughts and I'm aware of all the identities that I attach to. So a bundle of these identities is the ego. Is it? Now what you'll find is right now you are empty of identity. See? You have to think about it. See, but for a second you have to think. See? In your natural state, in the moment, there is no identity. This itself is a huge, huge relief. You see, and I know you're new to satsang, so you haven't maybe heard this from me before, but it's very, very useful. See? Because what can happen is that even a seeker you cannot become. You cannot play as unless you give yourself at least a concept. You have to give yourself the concept, I'm not there yet, or I haven't gotten it yet. Something. But in your natural state, like a baby, you have no identity right now. And usually when I say right now, I keep saying now, 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 because it gives no chance for the mind to think. So you're empty of identity.
And I can't figure that out now.
Yes, yes, but nothing to figure, you see, unless you think about figuring, unless you pick up the idea that I'm not figuring it out yet. Do you have a problem?
Okay.
You don't have, you're empty of identity, you see. So,
Yeah.
so now what has happened is that over the past few years, the spiritual seeker identity has been nourished to some extent, has been fed. You see that you must find the self, you must come to the truth. I have not done it yet. These kind of things. Now, just allow these things also to come and go. When thoughts are coming that I have not figured it out, I have not got it yet, I'm not there yet. You see, I don't know what progress I've made. Just let it come and go. That's the best part of surrender. You see, the best part of surrender is that none of this is your problem. When you come to Satsang, the biggest advantage is that it's like coming to your mother's house. All the meals are cooked for you. You don't have to do anything. So it's like I joke about this and say, once you got on the Guru train, then do you have to keep running? Once you get on the Guru train, just relax. The words of Satsang themselves will point you to that looking which is needed.
Okay.
The words will point you to the looking that is needed. So simply now, we looked at what is the mind, just a bundle of thoughts. What is ego? Just these identities that I believe myself to be. And I gave you another clue, which is that unless a thought comes, attention goes to the thought and belief is taken that yes, this thought is true. I cannot pick up an identity. Okay? You have to experiment with this for a little while. Just experiment with this. So I call this the ATM. So you have a ATM, which is the, you might not like the expansion, it is called the anytime misery machine. It is not anytime money or automatic teller machine. It is the anytime misery machine. Now, what is this anytime misery machine? This is the mind.
Okay.
This is the anytime misery. If you want misery, you have to go to the mind. Without that, you cannot get it.
Okay, all right.
So that has to be understood. Secondly, how do you use the ATM? First, you will put the ATM card in. ATM card in has to go in. No? So this ATM is attention to mind.
Okay.
So first, we have to give attention to the mind. Then, what happens? Is it done? Okay, do you get misery? No. Just because attention is on a thought doesn't mean that you get the misery. You also have to put in your PIN, which is what? Personal identification.
Yeah.
Once you identify with the thought, which means once you give belief to it, that this applies to me. You see, you invent the me in that way. You invent the identity in that way by giving belief to thought. You see?
So
this is
basically it is non-existent.
Huh?
So basically this identity is non-existent. It does not exist actually. We create it, you mean to say.
Exactly. It is both non-existent and non-persistent. Actually, it does not even survive the moment.
Okay.
That's why I said that every moment you are empty of it. If I ask you what you are identifying it with, you will first have to think about it.
Yes. Yes.
You see, without this ATM, you cannot suffer. Can you suffer without giving belief to a thought?
No.
So what is happening is that the seeker identity also becomes an identity, and there comes a point where even this seems to cause suffering for us. I'm not getting it yet. I'm not able to do it as well as other people. Like you were sharing the other day, not consistent with your kriya. You see, all these kind of things. So it is the seeker identity, the spiritual identity, which also can become the cause of suffering.
Oh yes.
Because because even at the root of the seeker identity is a limited idea of Shweta. The Shweta is something which is this body mind. You see.
Yes.
Now that is why I give all these examples. That if you were just this body, would you choose to be here? Or would you have a chocolate ice cream instead?
Yes. Yes.
You're just this body. There is nothing here for the body.
Yes.
So you cannot be just this body. There must be something here which is beyond you. Also, because you are new to Satsang, I have to tell you that there is $1,000 cash prize. Yeah? There's $1,000 cash prize for anyone who can show me the person.
Okay, I lose.
Good. Already she sees that it's not possible. You see, there is no such
Yeah.
identity which is tangible. There is no such person. You see.
Yes.
So Shweta is just a name for an idea we have about ourselves, or the collection of ideas that we have about ourselves. You see, 10 years ago, the set of ideas would be different. So when I would say, how was Shweta 10 years ago? They would say she was very different. She was not in spirituality. She was looking at other things. You see? And I say, can you tell me about Shweta now? Oh, she's been in this. She's been going to some paths, or doing all these things. You see, what is all of that? Just a set of beliefs that you have about yourself. You see? Now,
Yes.
what is it that is actually here?
That's the most difficult part.
Don't believe that thought, because that is misery causing. You see? Just let it come and go. I know the mind will throw these at you. You see, but you'll get used to letting them come and go. As you're more and more in satsang, you will find that I don't know which city you're in, but also if you can come to satsang, it's helpful.
I'm Hyderabad.
Okay, sometime soon. Yeah? So you'll find that in satsang there is something which automatically makes it easier for us to allow the mind to come and go. So when the thought comes, no, just look at what it already is, and the thought will come and say, but that's the most difficult. You see? So
Yeah.
you see, then we can find that we got so used to believing them that we just become a representative of these thoughts.
Yes.
So just simply we come to a point, and more when you're in satsang, you'll find it's easier to spot that, oh, this is the mind. It is just coming and going. You see? So
Okay.
because why should what is already here be difficult to look at? It must be here, no? You see? For the mind, it is impossible. So it will only say it is difficult.
Okay.
So what is here now? Very naturally, what is here now is that you are in front of a computer or a phone, isn't it?
Yes.
So you are observing these appearances, which is computer or phone, whatever it is. Now you are also observing that which we call the body, isn't it? The sensations of the body, the appearance of the
Yes.
body. You're experiencing that. So these are
Absolutely.
also appearances. Your thoughts are also appearances or no?
Yes.
They go. Now,
Yes.
any imagination, any visual, any sensation, also appearances. They come and go.
Yes.
Can you stop being? Just don't be. For a second, just don't be. Don't exist.
Meaning?
Just don't do it. Just like a child, I say, stop being. Just don't be. Is it possible?
Looks
You don't try to
different.
understand it. If you try to understand it, it's very confusing. No mind can understand it. Okay, so I'm giving you the clue now. So you do it when you do it like a child. You see that no, this being is just here. I can't stop being. You see? My presence, my existence is here.
Okay.
Whether body is perceived or not, whether there is a thought, whether there is mind or no mind, whether there is sensation, emotion, there is something more primal about my existence. I exist. You see? So instead of answering the question as if it's an exam question, you have to actually try to not be for a second. Just try to know. Just
Okay.
don't exist. You see? So this you say, mostly you will say it's not possible. I am. So this being, which is so apparent, and the question sounds silly when I say try to stop being. This being, what is the quality of that? What is the shape of this existence? What is the size of it? Where is it? Does the body constrain it? You see? These are, don't worry about them. These are just clues that I'm giving you now because it's your second satsang. Just clues, and we will, every day we share more and more about this, and it will become clearer and clearer. There are many in this room today who initially, when they would hear these things, they would say, "What is he talking about?" You see? And now it becomes very, very straightforward, more and more clear. So as we look together in satsang, all these clues will become clear. So I've given you a few important clues today, which is
I hope I'm not asking repetitive questions. I mean, like both those people in the satsang might get bored.
no, it's all this. These are the only questions actually. These are the only questions. Every question actually is a repetitive. So don't worry about asking repetitive questions, because all questions are seeking clarity about who we are. See, at the root somewhere, everything actually that we do in life is about this journey of self-discovery. We've been trying to find it in different ways, trying to make something out of ourselves as something phenomenal. Now we are going beyond that, saying, what is it that I am truly? Because this body, I don't feel I am. These thoughts, I don't feel I am. These emotions, I don't feel I am. This is how you started. So I remember, you see. I remember the first time when you came, very beautiful report she had. She said, I don't feel it. I don't see that I am this body. I don't see that I am these thoughts. Who am I? And I said, what she said reminded me of Bulle Shah. No? Who am I in all of this? I'm neither this nor that. So, like this is what satsang is for. For those who are open to this inquiry, for those who are open to looking and are open to the possibility that you might not be a thing, you might not be an object, you might be something which is way beyond phenomenal.
Okay.
So, just like this. So more and more as you come, then the mind will defrost. The identities, the belief systems will start to defrost a bit, and very soon you'll figure out a way where you can do the mind bypass, and you'll come to a very beautiful insight about what you are. So this is what we're
But
doing.
Guruji, can I ask you?
Yes,
Can I
yes.
ask you as to like what these kriyas do? I mean, like we do meditations, we do kriyas, um, Guru Puja. I mean, like what importance do these have?
So I answered a bit of that today already somehow. But so if you believe that you're a prisoner, now there are different ways in which you can get out of this prison. So one way is to do all those spiritual push-ups. You see, one day you will have enough spiritual muscle that you will be able to push this mind aside. You see? You'll be able to push this mind aside, and you will have done enough sadhana so that you can come to this point where the mind will become meaningless, what it is selling to you. You see? So one way is to do various types of practices, various things to do. The other way is to say, okay, the trouble is because of what I'm believing about myself, this mind. So let me now give my attention to other things, other than these mind thoughts, which are always about me, 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 me. Let me change this thought, bring my attention to thoughts of Ram or Krishna or Jesus or Mary, Allah, whatever. So you say Ram, Ram. Instead of this mind identity filled stuff, we come to trying to replace it with other things so that it does not cause the misery that it is causing. Mind is, like I said, the misery machine. So all of these ways are to try and overcome the mind. Now, why I was saying this is the direct path is that once you see that whatever the mind might be saying is not about me really, it's about this make-believe identity, then we don't need to go through much hardship. We don't need to go through uh, much trouble to try and overcome the mind. Why we have to overcome the mind is only because it is selling the story that you are the ego. Everything the mind is coming to is making something out of you, reinforcing an identity. You see? where no person in reality is there.
Yes.
Only consciousness is, only God is.
Yes.
But you come to the direct insight of this, as you see what the mind is saying, it's not about me.
Hmm.
Then it's like completely irrelevant, isn't it? So do you need to do then something to push it aside? No. You need to fear it. No.
No.
You need to do some bodybuilding, spiritual muscle building exercises to prevent it from coming. You don't have. Mhm. So,
Okay, so
so for
kriyas are aimed at that, is it?
Kriya is beautiful also in a way because, okay, let me share from my experience here. What happened here is that
Mm-hmm.
I also learned these kind of kriyas and things like this. But what I found is that as a result of this kriya, it opened up
Hmm.
some space here, some openness here to come to the exploration of who I am. So
Okay.
for that reason, I'm grateful to spiritual practices. Now, what can
Yes.
happen is that as you go through these spiritual practices, there might be these moments of insight where you lose your boundary. You find that there is no individual entity here.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, it can be beautiful. Now, for many, this openness is naturally present.
Okay.
So for many, this openness is naturally present, and then practices can start to reinforce the practitioner identity. You see, either the specialness that I'm doing so well in my practice, you see,
Yes.
arrogance,
Yes.
or the guilt that I'm doing so badly in these practices. And
Yes.
again, it reinforces the limited identity, which is actually contrary to the experience you are having in the practice. The experience that you're having is that you're not a person. The experience that you're having is that you're boundaryless. But the
Yes.
identity which is being picked up, you see.
Yes.
So I was telling Ramya also the other day, it is never the meditation which is the problem. It is the
Mm-hmm.
meditator identity which is the problem.
Okay. Okay.
Now, all our experiences must now become pointers to our self-discovery. Many get attached to even spiritual experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The basis for the identity can become the experience that they've had. Oh, I
Yes.
had the Kundalini awakening, so I must be something special. You see, a
Yes.
new identity can get formed about that.
Yes.
So, so we can stop worrying about the rest of humanity. If they feel like they are prisoners and they need to do some sort of exercises to get out of prison, it's completely fine. Because even that can bring them some sense of peace, it is fine. We have to just check what is resonating here for us now.
Mm.
Am I open to this discovery? Open to the looking whether they're actually the prisoner or a prison? And if this openness is there for this direct path, then you
Mm.
don't have to go through years and years of struggle.
Okay.
You can just see so clearly. So we have to just check within ourselves. I'm not saying this in any arrogant sort of way. I have never
I
said that the
understand.
direct path is the best path or something like this.
Yeah.
I have to only say that for what was playing out here, it was the best here because it just is clear that this recognition is so possible. The idea of me, which was being believed in,
Mm.
had no true basis. And yet, I feel like all the chanting, all the kriya, all the sadhana, all the bhajan singing, everything,
Mm.
in somewhere in the play of this life, help to come to this openness.
Okay.
But once you're open to the simple self-recognition, direct self-recognition,
Mm.
then you
Uh,
can all practitioner identity.
but Guruji, if we do the kriyas without attaching the identity, then
Yes. Then what your report will be is that the kriya continues to happen or not. I don't find the doer. You see?
okay.
Now, empty of identity, the doer is not there.
Okay.
Is he? Then who is concerned about whether Kriya is happening or not?
I don't know.
Still identity. That is still the spiritual aspirant identity, which is trying to find an answer for what I should do.
Okay. All right. So if it happens on its own, it's okay. Like, you don't have to I have to do it today. I have to do it, do these many kriyas daily.
Yes.
Okay. So once you are like actually empty of this, if the kriya has to happen, it will happen. If it does not, has to happen, it will not happen.
Yes. Even before that, it was like that only. It was only the identity that we were picking up. You see,
Yes.
what is happening has been happening. What is not happening has not been happening. There never has been an individual doer of them. Shweta has never done anything because Shweta does not exist.
Yes. Yes.
So the non-existent one, if I say, oh, in your room, the blue cat has spilled some milk. Yeah? What blue cat? You say, oh, okay, but now should the blue cat do her spiritual push-ups every day or no? There is no blue cat. That is the point. The appearance of this world is moving on its own. Everything has been happening through the will of consciousness alone. You see? Now, this is what I said. I don't want to leave you with the idea that you are Shweta, but you are not the doer. You see? I want to take away the idea that you are Shweta.
Yes.
Therefore, Shweta was never the doer.
Yes.
It's a bit subtle. I know that we've not spoken for a long time, but I'm just seeding all these things with you. See? One is to say that I'm still Shweta, what should I do? And I say to you, yes, you are Shweta, but don't have to worry about doing anything at all. But that is still half knowledge. You see? I'm saying that you have never been, Shweta has never been the doer because she has never existed. What is that which is here? That which is here is your being. You cannot stop being. Then you will find one day soon that this being is empty of all boundaries. All that is appearing and disappearing is within your own being. Don't worry. You see, you're still like in school and college mode where you're trying to understand it from here, but you will actually understand it at a deeper level.
Okay.
So for
I'll
now,
try to
just
do I said I'll try to do this today. I mean, like before I go to sleep or whenever I get time, I'll definitely try to, practice this sadhana
yes, don't
also.
make a practice out of this.
No, because
simplest
I
advice. Simplest advice is you are on the Guru train. Everything is in Guru program. Okay, so because I know that any instruction I can also give you, I notice that there's a bit of a tendency to make a doer out of yourself.
that will also become an identity.
So for now you forget about even can you stop being and just remain open. Just allow everything to come and go. When the mind is saying something, just like in this room there are two doors. Okay, one door here, one door there. You keep both your doors open. Let all thoughts just come and go.
Okay.
There's a beautiful Zen saying which says, let all visitors come and go. You don't serve them tea.
Yes.
You do that with your thoughts. Allow all thoughts to come and go. Don't give your belief to anything. Now you'll find that when body has to move, body is moving. It might be a revelation. You might see that I thought that I was the doer. I thought I'm using my thoughts and making them into actions. But you will realize that thoughts are coming and going on their own. You're not the thinker of your thoughts and you're not the doer of your actions. That way, actions are also moving on their own. Just like your head is nodding, your eyes are blinking. These are merging on their own.
Yeah.
Trust me that there is no Ananta who is speaking these words. And the same is true for the actions which you seem to feel that you are doing. There is nobody sitting there doing them. They are all movements in consciousness. You see? How will you come to all these insights? How will you come to all these insights? Just like this. Be in satsang, allow your mind to come and go. And don't pick up any idea of guilt when thoughts do get belief. Huh?
Yeah.
Don't pick up the guilt thought. Don't say, oh, I'm not doing it well enough.
Yeah.
The practitioner identity has been drilled into you in some way. It has become a little strong. So don't make anything here very serious. It is just, what is it? In-flight entertainment. No? So now you have in-train entertainment. Okay? All these pointers, just be relaxed about them. Don't become a practitioner of any of this. Then you will find so much ease, so much peace. So just naturally you will find a lot of things just dropping off.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So Guruji, like, does that mean that, we feel that we are doing certain things, or maybe we are making certain choices, or maybe we are choosing certain thoughts over certain thoughts, but it is not we who are doing, it's happening, you mean to say, always.
Everything is just happening. Yes. The
Doing it. I
that
mean,
way,
like, even making a choice, let's say, I have to, hello?
say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying that when we make a choice, let's say if I have to drink coffee or tea. So if I'm making a choice of drinking coffee over tea, so I feel that I'm making the choice. But in
Yes.
reality, it is not me who's making the choice. It is happening.
Yes.
Is it like
Yes,
that?
it is like that. But let these be your own revelations. You experiment with these.
Okay.
Again, as entertainment, in-train entertainment. Okay, don't become a practitioner of any of these practices. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay. All right.
as you start to notice this more and more, you will see there is a noticing happening here of these words which are emerging from this mouth. But I remember there was a time where I used to feel like I am speaking my words.
Okay.
There
Okay.
is a I, Tapan, as he was called before he was called Ananta, that he is the speaker of his words. Now it is seen that these words are emerging, and just like words which seem to be coming from there are noticed, words which are coming from here are also noticed. Let these be
Okay.
your own beautiful insights, but in a playful, natural manner.
All right.
And one thing I want you to know is that anything you hear in satsang,
Mm-hmm.
anything you hear from me, if
Mm.
it is causing any form of guilt in you, throw it away. It is not important.
Yeah.
So then you will see that all this worry about spiritual guilt, not being a good enough seeker, not finding the truth, all this will start to become very light. Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so much. One last question, please. One last question. Actually, Sadhguru says that these kriyas help you to hold on to the body. Like, when energies rise to a certain pitch, when the awareness rises to a certain pitch, it gets difficult for the body to, for the whatever, I don't know, to hold on to the body. So these kriyas, in a way, prepare your body so that it can hold you to the body in this, so that you don't leave the body unconsciously or something like that, I don't know. So is that true?
Without getting into the specifics of who said what, I want to tell you something
Yes.
more generally,
Mm-hmm.
which is that this phenomenal world has many, many intricacies, many
Mm-hmm.
parts of its design. See? Now, as you're coming to your discovery of yourself, which is beyond all of this,
Mm-hmm.
then you will find that you don't have to worry about anything phenomenal. You will find that there is a supreme intelligence that runs this world, this universe,
Hmm.
and it does not need the help from any practice or any mind.
Okay.
You come to that discovery of who you are, then you will see that this universe has so many intricate principles, it has time, space, gravity, electricity, uh, atoms and strings and all kinds of intricate phenomenal movement. But all is moving with a supreme intelligence. Everything is only the will of consciousness. Now,
Okay.
if you hold on to your identity as something limited within this play of phenomena, you see, then we can talk about how does this rule work, karma, does it work like this? With this kriya, are we able to hold the body in this way or that? But it still has a limitation about who you are. You see? Now,
Yes.
if that is a strong notion for you, and you find yourself unable to be open about the enormity of what you are, much beyond this body. See?
Mm-hmm.
If I say to you, this body is just a tiny appearance within you. If you're open to that kind of possibility, then you don't need other practices to try and retain the body or something like that.
Okay.
But if the notion that you are something contained within this body, or this
Mm-hmm.
body is what you are, you see, that is too strong. And it sounds
Mm-hmm.
completely absurd when you hear things like, but the body is just an appearance for you. Then there's nothing wrong with doing some other practices. But,
Okay.
but for us, we've been able to come to a few satsangs. You are open to the possibility of your truth as consciousness itself, and ultimately
Mm-hmm.
even beyond consciousness. That much openness is all that is needed to come to this recognition. So,
Okay. But
like I said to
uh,
you, the first way, there are different strokes for different folks. Based on our temperament, on our conditioning, there can be different pointings which are made available. You have to see now what is resonating with you. Like for a long time in my life, there was resonance with things like Kriya, things like practices. I wanted to learn more and more spiritual practices. But there came a point where they became like, these tiny dinky cars that we used to play with growing up. You see these
mm-hmm.
Hot Wheels cars. And something
Mm-hmm.
outgrew. At one point, they seemed like they are the most important thing for me in my life. I was constantly pestering my father, please get me more. When you come from work, can you buy me those Hot Wheels cars? Then after a point, something outgrew them.
Mm-hmm.
So was it bad? The
Okay.
love for Hot Wheels cars, it wasn't bad. It was what was needed at that point of time. You see?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yes.
we come to
Yes.
this integrity of what is it that that is resonating right now. Is it something at this level or another level or a different level? Nothing. Don't worry about higher or lower levels. Just what is it that you've outgrown, and what is it that is resonating most with you in your heart. And if you stay with that, you will never go wrong.
Okay. But Guruji, when you talk about, everything is happening, it feels like, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just saying that it feels like um, everything is predestined. I mean, I don't know, I'm saying from my own perception, it sounds like that at least.
Yes, that is because you are still presuming that consciousness has to follow the rules of time. I am pointing you to something which is beyond time and space. And when we talk
Okay.
about predestiny or karma, all of that is just
Mm.
a function within time, isn't it? Predestined means something has already been decided, but you're then
Yes.
saying God must have had to make a script for itself and has to run
Yes.
life this way. You see,
Yes.
I'm pointing
Yeah.
you to your reality, which is beyond time and space. Therefore, the concept of predestination or whether something has been predetermined is not there. You might actually say that all of this is the play of consciousness, and consciousness is completely free to play with whatever it wants in this moment. It doesn't have to rely on any script.
But when you say it's a happening, it feels like that. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, but that is not the intent of what the statement is. The
Mm-hmm.
intent of the statement is to show you that there is nobody doing it as an individual entity.
Okay.
There is no Shweta who is speaking these words. All these words are appearances within consciousness. So in that way, it is a
So if there is no Shweta speaking these words, then who wants to know that? I mean, like, at the inner self, every guru says that you know it. I'm just reminding you of it. So who is the one who is like, really wanting to know what is this?
Yes. So consciousness has been playing as if the limitations have been true about it. Now consciousness is playing the game of dropping its limitations. You see? It wants, like the movie where we don't like an abrupt ending.
Hmm.
Suppose I've shared this, no? Did you hear this story from me? No, you can say no if you haven't.
No.
So in the movie, what can happen? This is the camera, but I also want to see her expressions. So sometime I'll look at the camera. So in the movie, there's a protagonist. Say that protagonist was called Shweta. Shweta went through all of the struggle of life, trying to figure out who she was. Then one time she came to Satsang. And in the first minute of Satsang, got it, finished. All the struggle of like whatever number of years, one moment was over. Consciousness says, इसमें मजा नहीं आया. The build-up was so much, and the letting go was just like in the moment. We've seen some movies like that, the indie movies, the art movies. Sometimes are like this. Something keeps happening. End of movie. You see, just like the shot of the protagonist, movie over. No, consciousness wants to extract even joy from this, coming out of this delusion. Who has been doing all of this? There's only, when somebody asks me that, I say, okay, you give me the options, make it a multiple choice question for me. Then you struggle. You see, what are the options for who could be doing all this? Shweta, don't find. Consciousness is the only being, only I exist, I can say. So this consciousness has been playing as if it is a limited entity, now playing the game of dropping the limitation, playing the game of falling asleep in identity, and now playing the game of waking up from this identity. So who's doing all of this play? Only one doer and one experiencer, which is consciousness. So either we ask who is doing, or we can ask who is experiencing. We will come to the same answer. Only we have been giving it the wrong answer, which is Shweta. When you find that there has been no limited entity experiencing or doing anything.
Okay.
So consciousness is play of delusion, ego, consciousness play of dropping this delusion. So the picking up, the dropping, I told you the ATM story. Who's operating the ATM? Consciousness. That is why this is consciousness speaking with consciousness.
And the one who's putting the pin is also consciousness.
Only consciousness is, yes.
Okay. All right.
And this will become your own insight. This will become your own direct seeing.
Okay.
Try to find, as you look at more and more, you explore your existence, your being. Many people are looking for their Atma. Nobody tries to not be. You see, I wonder if these make sense to you yet. Many are looking for Atma. I'm looking for my Atma. Can you find being? Can you find consciousness? So simpler to ask yourself, can you stop being? When you come to simple insight about this I amness, this existence, this consciousness, then you find, does it have a boundary? Are the boundaries just experiences within this being? You see? And everything else, including that which is outside these boundary of body, also within my being. Then we will, this identity doesn't have legs to stand on. Because it identifies itself only with the limitations, only with the boundaries. As you start to discover yourself more and more open, boundaryless, then the notion of Shweta will just become a notion.
Thank you so much. This has been a great help. I guess, I've been struggling with all my careers and all. This is like, hitting on the spot.
You have to find your place of resonance. Now, it's so beautiful that you are here and Ramya is also here.
She's actually her friend. She's actually her friend.
Oh yes, okay. So I hope I'm not causing any trouble in any way. But so,
No.
so
I didn't know
it's
it's
very
the
natural
same Ramya that is my friend.
Actually, in a minute we'll show you. We'll turn the camera. It's not so simple now. There's a external camera, but
Okay.
for her, she just sits down, closes her eyes, and something naturally takes over, and she feels like very beautiful spiritual experiences are happening, and she's coming to this natural insight on her own. And I don't find in her case the meditator identity is getting too much importance. So for her, I would say, yes, you continue to sit. It's some beautiful revelations are happening. The minute you're closing your eyes, you're seeing your true nature in a way. You see? So for that, I would say continue. There is, like I said, over and over, I'm saying today, different temperaments, different conditions, different things which will come from here also. You see? There is no standard thing like that. But you have to say that usually what comes from here is the direct path. See what you are. See what you are. Find yourself about you. And what is being done or not done is not so relevant anymore. Okay?
Thank you so much.
So welcome.
I'm so glad to have found you. Seriously, Nanji. Thanks to Remya and thanks to Manju.
Yes, they're both here today.
And actually, thanks to Shivani also. She has sent me those 11 clues that day.
Yes. Yes. Shivani
When
is
I
called
joined the
Drishti.
other day, yeah. Oh shit, yes. Even I call her Drishti. I don't know. I just remembered that as a middle name.
Even I do that. Sometimes we have a naming ceremony. And at the end of the naming ceremony, I'm still referring to the one with the old name. So it takes some getting used to. This becomes part of the conditioning. The names that we get used to, we remember. I got the name Ananta from Guru, and then I told my mom that I have this name. So she said, "नहीं नहीं, हम तो तपन ही बुलाएंगे." Like we'll call you Tapan, we'll not. This is still better to call me Ananta. So this
But
becomes part.
it felt so beautiful the moment I joined the satsang. It really felt like a family.
I'm glad
And
it's like this.
yeah, and Manju came forward. She, messaged me that, are you Remya's friend? Can I help you? Shivani messaged me that, Drishti messaged me that, I'll send you those 11 clues. And she, apne aap se aage aakar she sent me those. And I was like, wow, who does that usually?
Very, very, I'm very happy.
Thank you so much.
This is the true role of the Sangha. The true role of the Sangha is to encourage, to share all these pointers in whatever beautiful ways. That's why I don't say this often enough, but let me use this opportunity to thank Amaya, Krishna, Vishti, all the ones all in the transcript team, everyone that is quietly, with no arrogance, no specialness, nothing, just day after day, Nitya, so day after day. Sometimes I know Nitya's 20 hours she's doing highlights and YouTube videos. Even last week, both of them, their bodies fell sick, Amaya and Nitya. So beautiful Sangha members. This is the beauty in the Sangha. I know that everything phenomenal has pros and cons. Sometimes in Sanghas there can be some spiritual competitiveness, some idea that everybody else is faking, I'm only the truthful one. All these ideas can come in spiritual Sanghas. But truly the purpose of them is to support each other in this way. So I'm very happy with this report. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
In fact, thanks to all of you.
So we'll close on that note. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Maybe we have such a beautiful gathering with many beautiful singers. Maybe we can have a song before we go. Let me change the view to the broad one. And this key will help to manipulate this camera to the singer. Yeah, you can take it. See? I will do just before we go. Yes, yes.
He's getting good. So it's one.
Okay. He's gone today.
So he was sending the leavings.
Good.
Today he said he'll bring.
That day he came, he wanted to attend online, and then somebody reminded him of coconut water. And actually, he came in person with the coconut, and said, "Today I would have been online."
So the plan was to get coconuts, and the cookies that I saw, the guy wasn't there. The same thing happened to him. Today my lady was there. In fact, she asked, "Do you want coconut?" Another friend is getting.
You decided which one? Ramya doesn't sing?
She seems like she has good food.
She also said she doesn't.
You sure?
Stay. Oh yes, party. Shall I open the sweet shop now? This one is for you. Yeah?
Nothing comes to my mind now. आयो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो वस्तु अमोलित दी मेरे सद्गुरु वस्तु अमोलित दी मेरे सद्गुरु कृपा कर अपनायो पायो जी मैंने कृपा कर अपनायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे खर्च न खोटे चोर न लूटे दिन दिन बढ़त सवायो पायो जी मैंने दिन दिन बढ़त सवायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो सत की नाम है बटिया सतगुरु सत की नाम है बटिया सतगुरु कृपा कर अपनायो पायो जी मैंने भव सागर तर आयो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई जन्म जन्म की पूंजी पाई जग में सभी खोआयो पायो जी मैंने जग में सभी खोआयो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर हरग हरग हस गायो पायो जी मैंने हरग हरग हस गायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो।
Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sitaram, Sitaram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Sitaram, 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 Jai Jai Ram. Krishna Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Krishna Govinda Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala Jaya Murali Manohar Nandalala. That's good, you can keep singing, don't worry about it. I sing everything in English. Krishna hijacks every written session here. Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Swagatam Sharanagatam Krishna Swagatam Swagatam Sharanagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Swagatam Sharanagatam Krishna Swagatam Swagatam Sharanagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Swagata.